Linux Out Loud is firing up our mics, connecting those headphones as we prepare to get rowdy. I'm Nate, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Matt and Wendy. We're three friends sitting around a virtual table, talking Linux, open source, tech, gaming, and everything in between. We keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat on topic, and, well, we have fun doing it. This week, we are spouting off about the nonsense we got going on in our worlds because I missed you last time. And
I missed both of you last time.
Oh, both of us?
Yes. It was just me and Bill on the last episode.
So it should be a fantastic. So it should have been a fantastic episode then, because it didn't have me or Nate on it, and we all know everybody else shows up here because of you.
Well, I mean, it was a fun episode. It definitely was a fun episode, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, people do come here for Wendy more than you or I, Matt.
I don't know about that. I have had some really nice comments on the last couple DLs that I've been on. So thank you, all of you out there. Is that it? Is that it? I'm married to Magneto, so they have to say nice things. That's probably true. Yes, that's probably true.
Well, if they want to keep their tech working, yes, because it's just one of those, Magneto, go get. Everything's broken.
To be fair, the last piece of tech that broke around the house was me, and we might get into that somewhere in this episode. So we'll see how it goes.
So anyway, I guess we're getting into episode 96 since I didn't say that part. So 96 it is. So how are my two favorite nerds on all the worldwide webiverse?
Happy to be here.
So good.
I was doing great until I saw Nate, and then just showed us out here from there. Pre-show and all.
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't have to work so early in the morning, you could have been here last week with me and Bill. But no, you had to get your butt up and go to bed at a.m., like early a.m.
I had to be up at 1 a.m. You are correct.
Yeah.
That's a little crazy. Crazy pants, I would say.
You have no idea at all. You guys just hear the times, not the actual work.
I don't people very well. I've realized this, so it's okay.
Matt, you are building a gaming thing now? Like what is it that you're doing? I could have read it, but I just didn't feel like it.
So here's the thing. He is on a Linux show talking about building a Windows PC.
Well, so
Matt, do whatever you want.
So a little context to that.
Okay.
Little context to that.
No.
No, there is. So those emulation drives that I bought, that I can't legally talk about.
Right.
They are more tuned for Windows. So like the front end and the way the file structure and all that stuff is more in tune with how Windows natively works.
Wait, you're saying somebody built software for Windows instead of Linux?
Yes.
Yes.
That is what
no fooling.
But what I'm saying is the way that those drives work play better with Windows. I've already have a 12 terabyte drive coming to back up the actual ROMs and all that stuff, which is the part that I cared about. But in order to actually use the drives for like emulation and stuff, they're kind of intended to, they are in tune with Windows. Problem was, I had a Windows gaming laptop that I kept as a Windows system because it is
right.
Wendy, as we'll talk about with you, it was a NVIDIA system. NVIDIA!
Which can sometimes, especially on laptops, really be a struggle to get working.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one was a weird one because I would be running it on Windows and it'd be fine. And then the keyboard of the laptop would disconnect at the driver level.
What?
On the Windows machine?
Yeah, on the Windows machine. So like the driver for the keyboard was no longer detected. I would reboot
out of nowhere.
Well, it would show up as under the USB human interface things in the device manager or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just showed up with the typical yellow with the exclamation point telling you have no drivers. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I went through the entire process of reinstalling Windows, and God, did I want to bash my head through a window there. Irony there.
I see what you did there.
Long process. It looked like it went away. Cool. Went back, started doing it again. I was like, okay, I'm not in the mood to troubleshoot this issue if it's not on a hardware level. So I ended up installing Garuda. Now, I had left this system alone specifically because it was NVIDIA. Lo and behold, it works without a lot of the issues that I've had in the prior past with NVIDIA systems on mobile systems. It gets a little weird when you start using Wayland. I will say on 610 on Plasma and 610 on the kernel actually works fairly well. So there is that.
What age is this laptop? Is it using a dual GPU kind of system? So you're using Bumblebee or Prime?
I am using, actually, trying to remember what I'm using right now. I honestly don't remember. No, there's normally I would use Optus Manager QT. It was usually my default to manage my GPU switching. There is a different and ironically a CLI app that allows me to do that, and I can't for the life of me. Or I think because I was having issues with Green with Envy because of it being potentially unmaintained. That's why I had originally swapped it. I think it's Envy Control. It's a CLI app that allows you to do all the GPU switching, the thermals, and all the other stuff, which was what I was trying to get to. Anyway, all that aside, so I am literally building a Windows system for emulation, the irony here, for an emulation drive that is specifically built for Windows, and I have no mobile Windows at all anymore, except, well, no, I have the Surface Book, but that doesn't really count because that's a whole different device. So this system, unfortunately, do note when you buy PC part picker stuff and Newegg stuff and whatnot, thoroughly read your descriptions. So I started building the system. I have the motherboard as an example right here. Ryzen 7 5800X and blah blah blah, 32 gigs RAM, terabyte SSD, and I'm sticking a 4060 Ti 16 gig model in it. That's fine, whatever. Problem is, CPU didn't come with a cooler, and Matt didn't read. Matt just saw a cheaper price. So cheaper price, cool. Unfortunately, I had to go and buy an aftermarket third-party CPU cooler.
When you weren't planning to do that quite yet.
Yeah.
How about like the biggest thing you could stuff in that box? Like it just takes up all the extra space. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Just because. No.
So advice for building PCs.
Would it get in the way of the floppy drive and your CD-ROM? Is that the reason?
No. Honestly, I probably bought too big of a tower. I went with a mid-sized case, but I think only just because of the GPU is the only reason I probably need the mid-sized case, not because of any other reason, because it's a 3-fan GPU. Pick your parts and actually read every description.
Read the descriptions. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can let it cook, literally, but I would prefer not to because,
you just bought this CPU. You'd rather it last a little bit longer than a few hours. Yeah.
Just stick a couple of, heat sinks on it, put a fan by, it'll be fine.
Drop an ice cube on it. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We get one of those ice cubes that are like, they're in plastic. They have like glycol in it. You put it in your adult beverages.
Yeah, there you go.
You put those on there. Yeah. Just hope it doesn't melt the casing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's going to be a Windows system, and not because I want it to, but it's like a purpose-built Windows system, like
for your emulation drives that you've got. Yeah.
that is legitimately the only reason.
So now I have a question. It's an honest,
Yes. Why?
Because it seems like the state of emulation in Linux is just as good, if not better, than in Windows for a client. Maybe not all this different little tools and whatnot, but things like EmuDeck and RetroDeck or RetroArch or Arc.
This has more to do with how the metadata is already done, like on the games and ROMs and all that stuff. That is a lot of work that I'm really not interested. Like the ROM preservation part is what I cared about. This is just the making it easy for me to use those ROMs and stuff without the headache of doing that other end myself. Now, you are correct. I could download RetroArch or EmuDeck or Play Night or any of the many other front ends and stuff. But the way these guys have it is just, it's about as close as plug and play for emulation as you can possibly get on anything. It doesn't matter if it's and with a library. Let me rephrase that, with a library attached to it. So that to me is where I care, specifically when they're in use, not cold storage. Cold storage is a whole different ballgame. Then I'm really not all that concerned about as much about metadata and how a PC scrapes it and all that stuff, or if it's already scraped accurately.
I predict that, Matt, you're probably not going to keep this on Windows for the long term.
Give them a propensity to nuke Windows off pretty much everything I own. You are generically probably not wrong. However,
generically probably.
This particular one is really, it is very much a purpose-built system. Whereas Windows generically for me in the past has been kind of a general use OS at one point. A lot of that has been passed over to any number of Linux distributions at this point. So
when do you think you'll be done building this machine?
Tomorrow, when I actually get the CPU cooler, because I had to buy it off Amazon because I didn't want to wait another 4 to 6 days.
All right. So I guess we'll see. I'm just now noticing the little titles, like the subtitles underneath our names. And I'm very offended, Matt. Anyway, and forgot almost on mine. So,
so these are subtitles that people can actually see, because when I go to export this, it's not actually subtitles that come with it, but just for the sake of it, I'll pop them underneath all of our videos right now. There you go. Now you can see them, and you can see why Nate is so offended. He shouldn't be surprised, though.
I didn't even look initially. I just thought, unhealthy obsession. Almost, that's fine. Mom, yeah, that makes sense. By the way, I do not use open. And I was like, really? That's what you got to put on there? All right.
Well,
so anyway, I think next time we do our little show, our cute show, Matt will be excited about this machine that he built, and it'll be working great. And then the next time we talk, he won't talk about it at all. And the time after that, he's probably going to say, by the way, I nuked it, and now it's like a home theater PC / retro emulator or something like that. That's what I'm predicting. And so we'll see if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
No.
We'll see.
We'll see you be wrong. You are correct.
I could be wrong.
What the heck does that even mean? We'll see you be wrong. You are correct.
So exactly. Matt had a stroke, and we are hoping for recovery.
All right. So, Wendy, while I'm building systems, you apparently are doing upgrades to yours, though.
Yes, I'm finally getting some upgrades done on my main system. And running out of storage has been a major issue for me. And part of it was I had a bunch of smaller SSDs in there. So I had one spinning Rust that was kind of like my main backup stuff that I still wanted access to. So not wanting that to necessarily just go and live on the NAS, because I still want to quickly be able to pull it up or whatnot. But at the same time, just in general, not having enough space. So that's one of the things that I've done very recently with last couple of weeks. Well, definitely since the last show, was go ahead and completely update the system. So now I have 3 spinning arrest drives. 2 of them are quite large. One of them has kind of the document stuff. So 3D printing files, school files, that kind of conglomerate of things. And then another one I've called my media drive. So it's got pictures, video, graphics, fonts, all kinds of crazy stuff on that one. And then I have a spinning arrest that is specifically dedicated for podcasts. That's it, just podcasts. So that I can take, when I'm done with the show, off of my travel drive. So I've got an external SSD that I'm actually editing from right now. That way I can take it from my main rig and use it on my mobile editing rig wherever I am. I've got that drive, so I can pull stuff off of there. It is 2 terabytes. I got plenty of space, but it's nice if I'm out and about. I've got the drive with me at robotics. Hey, I need to pull some stuff off the team, like computer or whatever. I can still do that with that drive. I've got plenty of space. So I have a drive that's now dedicated to that, so that I've got a place for the shows to go after I'm done editing it. But just in case there's anything I need from that or whatnot, I still have access to all of those files. And the games drive actually needed upgraded. So I had been using a 1 terabyte drive that was a dedicated games drive. And after I was on the one episode of DL where we were talking about the Borderlands game bundle, where you could get all of the games for $40, which I actually did go ahead and buy. I haven't played it that much because, well, Ryan said it's okay if you're like not good at shooter games, you'll be fine. No, I am not fine. I am absolutely not fine. But Magneto has been getting an absolute kick out of it. But that required way more storage space to have those games installed with what we already had installed. So Games Drive has went from 1 terabyte to 4. And I'm now using my internal M.2 drive that was a quote-unquote working media drive as my boot drive. So in total, actual space, not what it says on the drive, but actual space, I'm around 42 terabytes of storage in my system right now.
Wow. That is significant.
Significant, yes.
So as someone who has been doing something similar with so much storage, it sounds like a lot. It really does, until you start getting all that, like the 2 12 terabyte or 10 terabyte drives I have. Just the games from GOG are like 6 terabytes of whack that I've downloaded.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like actual folder structure, that space goes quick. Media drives, ironically, are actually the smaller of the ones that I've run into. Because like I think those are 4 terabytes a piece right now. And those are only about half full. And I have like 300 movies and about 100 plus different anime and TV shows and stuff on them, and music and just whole jazz full of stuff. So yeah, no, I definitely, it sounds like a lot, but it is not as much as people think.
But it's not as much as people think. And I've noticed in general, because I had been booting off a 250 gig SSD, which was doing fine, right? It was doing fine. Everything was running fine. But I feel, and maybe it's just my feeling, an improvement in speed and stuff with booting off the 1 terabyte M.2 than I was on the 250 gig SSD. So that part is nice. I do have one of the drives that I've got in here that I'm calling it my home folder. So instead of a lot of stuff actually downloading directly to what would be my home folder, I just reroute it to there. Not that anything's going to happen. I'm just always so worried about data loss in general that I don't want to have to worry about it, right? So if things are just going to external drives, then for the most part, if anything comes up, if I decide on a whim that I want to change which operating system or flavor of Linux I'm using, I can do that. Not that big of a deal. Not that I probably will. I've kind of been a pretty big Manjaro fan for a while, but it leaves the options open for me to do that. Now, going to Windows wouldn't be all that great because everything but the games drive is formatted as ButterFS, so Windows couldn't read any of this crap. And then the games drive is actually Extend 4. So yeah, Windows couldn't read any of it, but I'm fine if I jump to any other Linux. Yes.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I thought I was, really pushing the envelope when I said I had 32 terabytes of storage, and I'm like, whoa, my server, 32 terabytes. I'm like, well, then you come back and like 42. I'm like,
boom. That
So
now I've added 64 gigs of RAM to the system, so I'm not struggling with that measly 32. There's actually like 80 gigabytes of RAM currently installed inside of this system, running in dual channel mode. So seems to be doing pretty good.
Nice.
Have you seen a notice when in editing though? Because I know that was your choke up for a bit.
Renders are no longer an issue when it comes to my actual RAM. I haven't edited a really heavy episode with graphics and stuff since I've done the update, and that's definitely where some of that RAM gets to beating up. But it's nice that I can have all the tabs open as I'm doing research. I can have DaVinci open and all the things that are going on. And now I'm no longer seeing my RAM at like that 98% mark at times that are speaking, go, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Please don't crash. So that overhead is really nice now to have that. And I did go ahead and reinstall the system when I added the RAM, just for the heck of it, to see what's happening. And I think my RAM usage has actually been less, like not just percentage wise, but actually looking at the gigabytes used has been less. And I don't know what's up with that. But it is what it is. It's running well. I did go ahead and rethermal paste my CPU. I built this in 2020, and so it was time to do it anyway, and I can't access my RAM slots without removing my massive flippin' cooler because it covers the RAM. There is literally no way to access my RAM slots without removing the cooler, so it was a good time to go ahead and rethermal paste the CPU while I was at it. And done.
So that's the kind of cooler that I want Matt to get for his computer. A cooler that's so massive, you literally just cannot do anything without removing it. Like you couldn't even plug in the CPU cooler fan without removing it. That's how massive of a cooler I want him to have.
I think mine's the Noctua NHD15. I think is the one that mine is called. It's that massive, massive tower cooler with two 140 millimeter fans on it. Yeah.
That's what Matt, can you please get that for yourself, please?
That's what Matt needs.
No, this is where Matt is called. Here's your beep out for my portion, Wendy. This is where it's called Matt.
Granted, this is not a cheap cooler. It is not a cheap CPU cooler. Yeah, no.
So, like, I went with like high-end thermal take just to give you an idea of where I ended up going. And anyone who knows thermal take is more on the budget-conscious end of that spectrum.
They are, but I wouldn't say that they're necessarily bad in general. That's the case that I have, and I love the case. And it did come with fans. I don't use them. I do have all Noctua fans currently in this system, but if I had chose to keep the fans, I don't think they would have done a bad job.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the CPU because I had to buy aftermarket.
Yeah.
The CPU cooler is a thermal take. Trying to remember the full. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's not a huge, massive Noctua fan as it would normally be. Let's put it that way.
Double radiator cooler that I've got going on. Yeah.
It is far above what you would get with, say, like the typical stock AMD fan, which is usually just the black plastic shroud thing
that snaps in. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I think I spent $45-50 on the CPU cooler.
Not
So
bad.
it's a little more than I wanted,
Bad.
but yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, I
I'm just-
did rethermal paste the mobile system too, so everything all around has gotten to work. Not everything. The GPU hasn't, and I actually need to get some different thermal pads for it before I can actually do a teardown it. But
Is that
most things.
you mean the one in your desktop or the one in the
The one in my desktop? So it's one cooler that goes over both the CPU and the GPU in my Dell Precision 7750. So that had to be all done at the same time. And I figured because this is also a 4-year-old system that it was time for the thermal pads to go ahead and get redone anyway. Typically, stock ones are okay straight from the factory, but since I was already pulling it apart, I didn't want to worry about anything being dry and flaking or anything like that. So I just wanted to know that when I dug into that, everything got replaced.
I mean, it makes sense. We got torn apart. You may as well, go the whole way. Do what's got to be done.
Yeah,
Give yourself that peace of mind. Do a little brushy brush on the things.
Yes. Everything got a good dusting at the same time. So
if you have a brush like this, it works even better. Way
is
better.
It magic?
It is. It's perfect.
It's a magic brush.
In every way, it's perfect.
Well, Nate, if you notice, that brush is missing a certain word in front of the SUSE part, though. Open.
The unopened one is okay too. Sometimes you don't open up everything. Like your vintage big box games. You kind of want to leave them closed at this point.
Just leave them be, huh? Just leave them be. So basically, this system is 100% good to go. It just eventually needs a GPU upgrade. And I was talking to Matt earlier before we got started in the show. Even though that currently isn't the budget, I've still been looking. That's the hardware addict coming out in me, and I hate myself every time I look at them. And really, where the bottleneck is right now is in the decoding. So it's not like this is necessarily a bad card if I was just playing games, especially if I wasn't, running 4K monitors off of it. This 3060 Ti would be doing fantastic. It would be golden. So it's just the workloads that I have it under it in is where it's struggling. And we'll see. I'll keep watching them. I'll keep looking. Right now, I'm torn between AMD and NVIDIA. They both have their niceties. They both have the things that make me want to gouge my eyes out while searching for GPUs. And as I get closer, I will let you know what I end up with. Who knows? I don't know right now. Could be anything.
Might I make a suggestion, Wendy?
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, look at the Intel Arc cards. They are cheaper. They have plenty of VRAM. I'm not sure about their decoder status, but I know they theoretically, because everything until you actually research it a ton, are supposed to play fairly well with DaVinci from what I've seen.
It's worth a look. It's definitely worth a look.
Because the cards themselves they're cheaper than the high end ones that you'd be looking at.
Yeah, and that's definitely in the range that I'm looking. And I don't know that it's necessarily more VRAM than I need. It definitely won't hurt, especially when it comes to the render. But the decoder is where I'm really seeing the hit. Though right now, not running anything fantastic, but it's because I've got 4 monitors going on. We're recording right here. I'm averaging between 16 and 50% of my GPU used. So an upgrade wouldn't hurt. I am putting this thing through its torture paces, but
so Wendy, I'm going to send you a nice lovely document that you to a link to a document for Intel supported decoders and coders.
Sweet. I will definitely check that out and probably get even more ticked off.
Again, like I'm saying, in fairness, the Intel stuff, while expensive, is miles cheaper than the competition as it relates.
Which really isn't that hard to beat, and it's definitely not hard to beat in the NVIDIA areas. And so, like, the top of the line AMD, you're running around $1,000. Top of the line NVIDIA, you're running $2,000, but NVIDIA has the faster memory in general, and in some of the stuff, the AMD card is still beating the NVIDIA card where it comes to decoding and DaVinci, and it's just... Every time I watch a review and I'm like, yeah, I've got it nailed down. I continue doing research and then I don't have it figured out anymore. And I just want to burn them all. Just so incredibly frustrated. But we'll see. Maybe Intel solves it. Maybe Intel solves it. I don't know. We'll see.
My money's on not. I'm going to do a good job of solving some other problems, so we'll see.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think at this point they're all garbage. It's all garbage. But you don't have garbage now. You're actually playing? Are you playing a game? You playing with hardware? What are you playing?
Hey, wrong person. You mean Nate?
What? She said Nate.
What? Huh? Oh, okay.
Right.
I was like, wait, I did it again because I have been known to do that.
I was going to say, that's... I was like, oh, what? Huh?
We are... I love how professional we are. Top notch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is the pinnacle of professionalism right here.
A MIDI Korg?
Keyboard, yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So, to be fair, keyboards have also been on my wish list, but the one on my wish list right now is not even the typical keyboard I want because it's small without a number pad, but it is Lord of the Rings themed. So is yours something really cool like that?
It's a piano synthesizer.
Oh, wrong kind of keyboard.
Musical keyboard.
He's talking a MIDI synthesizer keyboard, which is for things like mix and various other software that I probably already know where he's going to be going with this.
Awesome. So I didn't know that you played piano.
So I used to play a lot of instruments. Are we actually doing? Do the actual segue? Because okay.
We've segued somewhere in this absolute. Yes, I'll bleep that out. So take it away, Nate.
All right. So I quite some time ago. All right. So let me wind up here. I used to do a lot with music. I played numerous instruments, and I liked never writing music, but I liked playing music. Mostly, I just play the radio at this point, or video games. But I kind of got the itch to start noodling around again with the keyboard, and I do noodle with the bass guitar also. And anyway, so I have an older brother. He in the 90s he bought this Korg keyboard synthesizer piano thing. It's a Korg N364. So I like it because it ends with 64, and that's usually a win for me anytime you see 64 in anything, just because it is, Commodore 64. So
right up your alley.
Right. So it wasn't working properly. It had it sounded out of tune, and I didn't know what was going on with it. So I downloaded the manuals for it. I did some OCR processing on it, and then I shoved it through that GPT for all chat thing, and I said, "How do I fix the tuning in this?" So it didn't give me the right answer, but it gave me the page for the right answer, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
So I could actually dig through there. And basically, they have different scales essentially. So different regions of the world have different musical scales, and so the Korg has that all built into it. So if you want like a classical scale or an Arabic scale, or I think stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of different scales. I'm not going to say anymore because I'm probably wrong at this point. I just remember Arabic and like classical. Or bright piano, whatever.
Nice.
So anyway. I fixed that. Now the floppy drive on it doesn't work. So I got somewhere here a GoTech I'm going to shove in there so I can do like USB plug into it. And then also the little like joystick thing for like doing like pitch change. That doesn't, it's broken. It works, but like there's a spring broken. So I'm going to take that apart and fix it. But the important thing was I cleaned it up and I was able to use it and make it so it sounded properly. So the next thing was, I wanted to like do a little noodling with it, and just kind of, because I can play some things. Mostly it's like video game related. Like I like playing the Tetris theme, or like Science Blaster from, I don't know if you've ever heard of like Game Theory, the YouTube channel Game Theory. So their old theme was called Science Blaster. It's a fun thing to play. It's a very easy walk up and down. Or like, have you ever played the game Portal? I don't know if you ever played the game Portal.
I haven't.
Probably Matt has. Matt probably knows what Portal is. So at the very end, there's a song called Still Alive. Not Staying Alive. That's a totally different song. Still Alive. And
no.
and that's a really fun tune to play also. So it's just some noodling. I have a hard time with like making my right hand and left hand do different things. I don't know how people do that. I'm not capable of that, but I can do one-handed or very simple things. Nice. As long as I'm, no syncopation. I can't do any sort of syncopation. So I did take piano when I was a teenager. I did play the guitar, saxophone, trumpet. So just a few instruments. So
things,
Also I like playing the tin whistle. Also, it's fun because of a Star Trek. It's called The Inner Light. It's a fun tune to play. Also, it's kind of hard, but it's also I learned to play it just because I wanted to. So anyway, video game related things, fun to play. And so what I wanted to do is be able to, can I maybe arrange some of my own stuff? And so I thought, well, this has MIDI. So I got an adapter to like USB to MIDI adapter so I could plug into it. And I figured out how to get it so it could talk to my computer, my computer here. And I was able to play some things and then get the recording. And then using Q Tractor, that's what I chose. LMMS is another one out there that's very popular, but Q Tractor looked a little more simple for a numpty to use like myself. And then you have to basically set up instruments for it to be able to play whatever you signals you send it, because it sends general MIDI. I think it sends general MIDI. You can actually select what it is, but I'm just using general MIDI. So you have an intermediary in there called Hydrogen. The program's called Hydrogen to handle the playing of stuff, the instrumentation. Now, I'm still learning on how to do all this. I can record stuff, I can edit it, but I can't actually listen to it. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I get it figured out. I've already watched like some tutorials and nothing seems to like quite get me where I need to go. So I'll figure it out. But anyway, am I going to be publishing anything? Not likely. I might use it for like, maybe future videos, like background stuff, because, I'm thinking about rearranging some stuff that I already have licensed. So stuff like that. I just want to be able to play, just noodle around. That's all I really want to do. And I'm also
if Linux Out Loud ever needs a new theme song, we go to you for it. Is that it?
No. Unless you want it to sound like like an 8-year-old with a handicap is doing it. So who can't carry a tune about it? But I mean, I enjoy music. It's fun for me to play. And that's what it boils down to. So it's another aspect of using Linux for doing something, that's not just computery office stuff, or video editing or anything else. Like there's other fun things, other activities you can have in Linux that is, based in the arts. And I think it's fun. So that's it. Look at this. There's another device. I got to pull it up in my eBay app. I don't want to start clicking around here because I'll probably like lose the show and accidentally click on the wrong thing, and then you're gonna be mad because I just messed up.
Oh crap! Where did Nate go? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Matt's gonna hold it against me because he's a jerk. I mean, because I can't say that. No, you're not a jerk. You are a lovely person. Totally lovely.
I will totally be enthusiastic that Nate has left the show.
Right. So it's this Akai, AKAI Professional MPK Mini Mark III. It's kind of a neat little looking device. I'm not ready to buy one right now, but it's got like drum pads out and everything else too, and so it'd be fun to like do like bass lines and everything else with that.
Yeah. And
so it's just something I'm thinking about. They range from like $60 to $90, $60 to $100, and I am so cheap I don't want to buy one yet. I have to like think about it for another year probably. But anyway,
I know
so
exactly
something like
how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's not like I can't afford it. It's just that I don't want to spend the money. It's really what it boils down to.
So,
Other things I need to
Nate,
buy. Anyway,
question for you: when can we expect DJ SUSE?
Ooh, I could wear like a chameleon outfit, wiki, and do all kinds of fun things. Oh man, that'd be great. So
You're welcome, Wendy.
Mix is good for that. Have you ever played with Mix? Like if you can do DJ stuff, and then it integrates, and that's something I want to play with eventually too, because I do sometimes do some those sorts of things, which I don't ever want to talk about ever on Linux out loud. I don't want people to know that I even care to do those things. And now you're going to put it out there, so whatever. But anyway, there are controller interfaces, and I believe they're also MIDI based, and they interface with the software, so you can. So it's get your screen interface as well as a control board.
Nate,
Ad board.
There's also a app called Lives that is like a video. What is it? VJ presentation kind of app that goes with like Mix and all that stuff. So it's meant for putting on like live shows and stuff. Just saying, like it can also be used.
We got DJ SUSE coming to your next birthday party.
Yeah. Whoop whoop, raise the roof.
Whoop whoop.
But there's also, is it QLC Plus? I think it is like QLC Plus, where you can do like DMX lights as well. I know like Noah, as in Noah Schley, Ask Noah, he does stuff like that too. Yeah. So those are DMX lights back there, and I would like to be able to control them. I haven't got the interface for it, but like there's some sort of like a brain barrier that's I'm not getting it, like how to actually interface with all of it. I just got to take the time to do that. But yeah, there's things, and these are just fun things you can just do in Linux that I'm, just finally getting to now, and I'll do more of it, as I have with all the oodles of time that I have.
Yeah, oodles and oodles, just so many oodles.
So speaking of oodles of time, Matt, you seem to have taken the time to buy a Fairphone 4, and you're going with the Ubuntu Touch route.
Yes, so just all the new hardware and stuff in general has made me want to explore the different options that are available. As much as I tolerate Android, would be the best way to put it. I was looking for a used phone for Ubuntu Touch specifically. So I was looking for the best spec phone that I could find that was at least like 99% there with the install. Like it works with the Ubuntu Touch installer, and it's really dumb, simple and user and stuff.
Out of the box, that a whole bunch of like, do this, run this code, blah, 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 just easy install kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. So
you didn't want to have to bang your head against the table just to get the thing to go. I totally get it.
So
I need to learn how to do that.
So the best experience I've had, like the experience I've had with Ubuntu Touch, has been on the Pine phone, which that has seemed to have come to a crawl as far as development, unfortunately. But I do like Ubuntu Touch. So the only other kind of decent phone was a OnePlus 6T, but it doesn't work with the installer. So like I can install it, but I have to go through the portion I don't want to do. Luckily enough, the Fairphone 4 had just recently gone down in price because of the Fairphone 5 coming out. So it went from
makes sense.
I think it went from $499 to $399. So that's for 8 gigs and 256 gigs of storage, with all the repairability that you get with the Fairphone, which also cool. So I went on eBay and I was looking around. I found the Fairphone for even cheaper, and it was about $330, I think.
Why didn't you tell me you were bidding on one? I would have gladly bid against you.
I didn't. Actually, here's the weird thing. This was I buy it now price.
Oh,
so there was no bid.
Oh man, I'd like to inconvenience you just a little bit. I mean, just a whisker.
Nate, you're on the show. That inconveniences me enough as it is.
Good point. Good point. That's I forgot about that part.
So I wanted to go down the Ubuntu Touch rabbit hole with the best experience possible. So this is the currently best spec phone that you can get. That is a contribution of the OEM and the community working together. From what I can see from the information provided by Ubports, like 99.9% of everything works on install. That to me is the most intriguing thing. The only thing that I've seen an issue with is the initial GPS like lock-in is like 20 minutes for it to actually on that first time through to find you. So like,
know that you're gonna be a while. Like that setup process is gonna be a minute, but otherwise you're.
So I don't know if it's just when they mean the first time you actually use it, or if they mean every time you turn it on. So like if you turn it on, like kind of like on a reboot. So like I don't know where they mean with that.
Okay.
But for me, I always leave my GPS on anyway. Like on my Android phone, like it's literally always on anyway because I have to use it for one of the apps that I actually need to. I figured, I spend a lot of money on. So I spent a lot of money on stuff, and this one was. I wanted to give it its fair shake, and in order to give it its fair shake, I need to give it the best, like present with its best foot forward. And to me, this was that option. I didn't want to go the Google, like use Google phone route and all the other stuff. Like there's just too much, like the gap in phone age and the deterioration in batteries, blah, 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 all that stuff, at least with a Fairphone. There's the other aspect that I've been getting a lot bigger on, and that's repairability or replacing things and all that kind of stuff where it does matter. So, and the Fairphone does allow that. And the nice thing is they tell you how to unlock the Fairphone bootloader. They give you the tools to do it, and they actually Wendy, you'll appreciate this. They give you the actual ISO or IMG or whatever version they're using for format now. Yeah. They are giving that.
I'll talk about it in a minute. Keep talking about your phone.
They actually give, if you go to their website, you can actually download the Android versions that the Fairphone ships with. So, and they tell you how to reflash it and redo it, whether it's fast boot or if it's going to be like the upgrade path instead. So really super good documentation as far as that. Nice. Gives you the options for stuff. I love that. Hey, other OEMs, don't start doing it, then take away the options. I'm looking at you like OnePlus, which you used to allow us to unlock our bootloaders.
Yes. Yes, they used to be absolutely amazing. That used to be one of the selling points of OnePlus. It was one of the great things about HTC, too, when HTC still had phones.
Sony phones.
Selling.
Sony phones were the same. So somebody's going to ask why I didn't go with the PinePhone Pro. $400. It's not the spec that I really cared about that concerned me. It was the fact that its shipping was Sailfish OS. As opposed to like it's a Linux distro, but it's not in the way that we like our Linux. I'm not against like the proprietary-ish kind of way of going about it. It's just those phones to me are community phone, like they're developer phones meant for the community to make mobile experiences. And I don't know if it's a failing of the community or the company or a little bit of both that it's kind of stalled. Like, and I'm not slagging on anything about it, but it's just like it kind of stalled. So like it really wasn't a viable option. And the current state of Ubports on any of the PinePhone iterations isn't stellar. Like cameras don't work, and just there's stuff that just it's not functional as a daily driver, and that's kind of what I'm trying to go with.
Well, and that's just it. If you're going to be using one of these phones as a daily driver, you want to be giving it its best foot forward, and that's using a phone where everything works. Because otherwise, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to have some other issues that aren't necessarily getting the full picture of what that ROM could be.
very much the case. But I thought the price was killer, and just the fact that the price and the repairability of it. And
Yeah.
I can't remember how long. I think Fairphone said there were like 10 years, 7 years, 10 years of like Android updates to the older phones.
Whoa.
So they were like long-term support and stuff. And this is well after chip manufacturers like Qualcomm like drop off support for Android versions. So that to me is super cool too.
That's crazy.
So it says the software support until at least 2026, but may extend up to 2028. As part of their FAQ on it.
Heck yeah.
So and that also doesn't mean that there wouldn't be, like, maybe they wouldn't support it, but because it's so open, I'm willing to bet that it could go beyond that too.
Easily.
Which means that they will support it that long, which is crazy. And so that phone came out in 2021. So last year.
Minimum 5 years, maximum 7.
Yep.
That's crazy for a phone OEM.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. But it kind of fits with the way Fairphone is going, right? You're able to repair the device. You should be able to have long-term security patches on that same device that you can fix. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I started looking on the eBooger, and I see that there is a Fairphone 4 that you can get. What's that? 256 gigabyte. I think it's storage and 8 gigabyte of RAM. For $340, which that's about what I would spend for a Motorola phone if I were to buy another Motorola phone. I don't know, Matt. You are the enabler of enablers. So
in fairness, you also did buy the Pine Buds too. So, there is that.
Oh, these?
Yes, those.
No, I'd never buy them.
Not during the show at all for repairability and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
So while I'm buying new hardware to nuke and pave OSs off, Wendy, you seem to be fixing problems with the hardware itself interoperating the OS.
Yes, absolutely. So that's all the stuff that I was going to talk about, but because this little beauty over here next to me showed up, I'm going to totally switch gears. So you'll get my fixes of how I got the fans to work on the Dell laptop, and you'll get my OBS fix because it wouldn't launch with NVIDIA, and you'll get my DaVinci Resolve fix, but you're going to have to come back next episode for that because, well, I decided I was going to print something. I had been having issues, as I talked about, with my 3D printer blowing fuses, right? The heat bed kept blowing fuses. I'd ordered some more, and I figured, when I had originally taken that apart, it had a MOSFET board as part of it that was helping to run that power through on the heat bed. And I was like, this main board is built like it has bed power in and bed power out. I don't need that MOSFET board. Well, obviously I did because it kept blowing fuses. And I'd finally decided, well, I'm going to do this print and then I'll find the MOSFET board and I will make it work. Well, that no longer works. And I've already shared this picture with Matt, but I haven't shared this picture with Nate yet. So I'm going to share this picture really, really quick with Nate and get his first impressions on what this looks like. So this is my main board. And if you look to the right, that's the socket where the heat bed fuse is supposed to go. And it's a
we're not gonna take it.
So it looks like to me, and far be it for me to give any expert opinion on anything. But it looks like to me that you it got a little toasty. Like, it
got a little toasty. Yeah.
You really gave her the onions.
Released the magical blue smoke. And it finally, it's not working. So the nice thing about it though is if you're looking at it, the melting, the heat is really localized to that socket. Everything around it still looks really good. So I guess, yay, safety feature at the board. And I couldn't even find the MOSFET board that I'd pulled off of it. So I have ordered another one. It showed up. And I was frustrated. I was very, very frustrated with this happen. And the one guy that my husband works with just so happens to have a main board that he pulled off his 3D printer to switch out. And so that's what just arrived. I have no idea what's in this box. I've got no clue exactly which main board showed up. I just know that I have a main board here that I get to connect the printer to tomorrow. Oh, so it looks like it's the same. So Big Tree Tech. I was told that there was going to be some drivers in here, which I still have some from my last board. But so that's nice. At least I know that it's going to be able to run Clipper. I was a little worried about that. But yeah, what is this? It is, an SRK2. So this should be fantastic. It's not necessarily what I was going to originally go with. I don't even think it's been opened. It's not even been opened. It's a brand new board. Brand new board.
That's exciting.
So yes, absolutely. I can get the 3D printer up and running again. I was been back and forth on whether I wanted to go with the same board. So I'd been running a Big Tree Tech Manta MP8, which you can have dual extruders on it and that kind of stuff. And it does have a place where you can mount a CM or Compute Module 4 from a Raspberry Pi or Big Tree Tech's version of that. So I had been doing that, and the board that I have that's Big Tree Tech board only has 1 gig of RAM. And I've noticed that like every once in a while, like my machine was just shutting down. I'm wondering if that was a RAM issue, because I typically see it when I'd go to run really large print files. And we did have some extremely big ones that we ran recently. So I decided I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 kicking around here. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. Like, this is way, way overkill for a 3D printer. But at this point, overkill is underrated. I'm going all out on this thing. So I'll get this board installed tomorrow. I'll run Clipper off of the Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigs of RAM. And if that doesn't work, then I think I'm going to Office Space the dang thing and just be done with it.
Well, I can't say I haven't thought the same thing with my Ender 3, but for different reasons.
For different reasons.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I keep going, okay, so I want to upgrade it and I want to do this. And then I start to looking into the cost of upgrading the machine. And I'm like, holy crap, that gets really expensive. Maybe I should just get a different machine that has all of those options on there. And then those are really expensive. And I just kind of seem to be in this loop with it. I did come across looks like a cheaper way to upgrade it. So it's on linear rails, which I'd really, really like it to be on linear rails. Seems to run really smooth, less noise. And a lot of those kits are just incredibly expensive, just to buy all the parts together. So I found, I'll have to share it, drop it in here on Thingiverse, someone who has printed a lot of the parts, which obviously I couldn't do as of today because the gosh dang board wouldn't run. But, and let's face it, I actually won't have time to do this. I probably won't have time for like a few weeks in order to get it all put together, because we're just in crazy sauce zone where things are super busy. Linear rails are coming if I can get this thing to work. If I don't end up deciding, well, forget it, we're just going to burn it to the ground. Right now, the laser cutter is working great, but I actually shouldn't say that, because now saying that and those words coming out of my mouth, something's going to break, because it always breaks after I'm like, it's running perfect. No, it's not. And it better, because we're actually creating some sponsor thank yous using it and some other things. So it has to get through some projects that have to be done this week. And then I guess it can die like every other piece of hardware. Magneto lives here.
He can take care of it. He's kind of reminds me of like the Man on Fire. You ever seen that movie Man on Fire, where his okay, but basically it's like is it Denzel Washington? I think he's the actor in it, and he's basically he had worked in the government in some capacity, and his job was basically to unalive people. And I don't know if he was like military, if he was some sort of like, through that
Government
agency.
spook
I'm not really
or
sure
something along those lines.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so he became, he was a very troubled individual, but he got this job babysitting a young girl, and somebody kidnapped this girl, and basically he said he was going to create his he was an artist, but his art is death, and his medium is basically death, and so he's going to paint his masterpiece or something like that. And I think so in my mind, like Magneto's art is destroying electronics, and he's going to paint his masterpiece. It's
just from being in the zone of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I actually can't blame him for my 3D printer dying. That was 100% me. I should have put the MOSFET board back on it a long time ago, and it would be running fine right now. But I can at least blame him and say that it was his fault, even though I know it was mine.
It's all good. Sometimes these things happen.
Years of marriage, he's used to it. It's fine.
Right? Yeah. There we go. We'll just blame it on 19 years of marriage. Yeah.
Ooh, almost 2 decades coming up here, huh?
Almost 2 decades next year. So this year marked 20 years together, and 19 years married. So
that's pretty wild.
We'll have to do something fun for our anniversary next year.
I think.
How does Magneto put up with you?
I honestly don't know. Yeah, no clue, but he does.
he basically married a female version of Doc Brown.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Especially, well, I mean, for all the crap I get about buying all the hardware, Wendy, you actually, I think, probably buy more hardware than I do.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I have bought a fair amount of hardware lately, but I can blame it on school. So it's for school. It's for robotics. It's for the kids.
Okay. To quote the crap that I get, whatever it requires for you to justify your purchase.
Touche, pussycat. Touche. But Nate is also wanting to buy stuff, but this isn't new stuff, which we should have known. This is filling out collections of old computers.
It is. Now, there's a short list. It's getting shorter of basically computers that I used growing up, and I just want to have like a little bit of that nostalgia, just at least for a short period of time. So coming up September 7th and 8th is Vintage Computer Fest Midwest. That's in like the Chicagoland area. And I have a lot of vintage tech enthusiast friends that are going to be there. And I really want to I think for sure I'm going to get like a classic Macintosh, the classic looking Macintosh, with the 8 or 9 inch screen, whatever it is, in a little box. Something that's been kind of refurbished, something that I don't have to work on. What I wonder is I just want to kind of relive some of the, like when I was a preteen era, basically, computer stuff.
Yeah.
A 68K Mac, basically. I'd like to get one of those. And to fill out the rest of it, I'm also looking for like an Apple IIe or 2GS. I'm only going to buy one because I can't buy them all at once. I'm not going to enjoy it. They'll just sit and wait. So a couple years ago, I bought an Atari 400. So it'd be neat to get like a Macintosh Classic. And I think that's probably going to happen. I'm pretty confident of that. And although I don't know if I'm going to go there I think I'll have to go there on the 8th, a Sunday, because this is exciting news for Matt specifically. So on September 7th will be the first day of robotics for my kids.
Yay!
At least my
awesome.
oldest. My daughter is not. She's not like totally committed yet. I'm hoping that she wants to do it. She likes to build. Not really interested in build and control. She's not really interested in the programming or the CAD. She really likes the building
side of things.
Yep. My son is interested in the CAD and the programming, not the building. So I'm like, well, that's perfect.
Yes.
And the controlling, of course. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But September 7th is when they do the announcement. That's we're having the first we had like a boot camp last week. And so this week we have...
Okay, so they're doing FTC, not FLL.
Yes,
Because
correct.
the 7th is kickoff for FTC. So that's where I will be on the 7th as well. The Coils, the team that I'm now getting to help mentor as my kids have moved into, they are hosting kickoff this year. So I have signed my NDA so that I can put together the field and all of that stuff. It's going to be interesting as I'm going to go to robotics and do robotics things as we're setting up the field, but not being able to talk to anybody about it until the 7th of September, which isn't too big of a deal to keep a secret. It's not a present for my husband, so it's way easier to keep a secret than that. I'm horrible at that. I'm absolutely horrible at that. It's any more the same reason that, like, if I get him a gift early, it goes in the girls' room because then I'm less likely to give it to him early. So, kickoff should be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I think the FTC robots are a ton of fun. And that's the nice thing about FTC is you can pick and choose. You don't have to build and code, whereas in FLL, everybody has to participate in everything. So it's fun. I'm looking forward to it. Is this a brand new team that they're on? Is this a rookie team or are they running an existing team?
It's an existing team, so they've done at least 1 year before, but it could be another.
Okay.
It's at a public school just to the south of me a little bit.
Nice.
So not in the school I went to growing up, but in another school. And so I've met one of my son's classmates. He's in this as well, and then and there's some people I do know that are in this, which is kind of cool. So anyway, so looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't be as cool as you, Wendy, and being able like doing all the neat stuff, but because I'm too busy with employment and everything else. So I will be as involved as I can be and helpful as I can be. I may end up sponsoring it. Like CubicleNate.com may end up sponsoring the team just because.
Nice.
Just to kind of help them out. But anyway, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm excited. FTC is a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to this game. FLL got their game in the beginning of August, and it looks great. Super excited about it. Fingers crossed that this one is the FLL game is full of strategy involving deep sea. So I'm hoping that FTC gets a super awesome game too. We'll find out here shortly. So when this episode drops, we'll have like a week to kick off. So
yeah. And then if someone says, see me at Vintage Computer Fest Midwest, I'll be there.
Check them out on the 8th.
Probably Sunday. Yeah. Sunday, yeah. I don't think I can be there for the Saturday. It wouldn't work out between the kickoff and then Linux Saloon, too much going on.
All of that fun stuff going on. Yeah, I get it.
That'd make my teeth hurt.
Get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely get it. Well, cool. I'm excited that they're getting involved. I have pulled somebody else into robotics. Congratulations.
Yep. And then what I'm excited for is when we can burn an entire show on robotics, and Matt will be so thrilled.
So next time Matt is away, we'll have 100% robotics show. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the things that the kids are going to build this year. My daughter was actually doing some Java code stuff. I don't know how that team does it. Our team uses Android Studio, which is so gross. But if you're coding in Java, Android Studio is the best way to get it across, or you can do on-bat Java or the block relators. They've got multiple ways to code. But they use Java and Android Studio in order to get that done. So
it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
And you know what else would be fun?
What?
If you would take your turn and toss in your 2 cents on today's topics, hit the discourse forum, drop us a line under the video, or on the contact form by visiting tuxdigital.com/contact. If you'd like to hang out with us on our preferred social media, see the links at the bottom of the show description. And other great shows like Sudo Show, Destination Linux, and Linux Saloon, and more at tuxdigital.com. Show off your love for your favorite podcasts and shows by visiting the Tux Digital merch store. Grab yourself some awesome swag like the Gamer-Centric I Pause My Game to Be Here shirt, or join #Team Wendy with some sinister Wendy swag. As always,
Evil.
we thank you for joining us.
Evil.
I know.
Evil,
I was trying to see if I could skip through that before I could say it.
You were running with it just as fast as you can, but Matt hit the unmute button.
I was
in
sprinting.
there.
I was sprinting to that next telephone pole. We'll be back next time with another awesome episode of Linux Out Loud. Until then, keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat on topic, and have fun doing it.